Hey, Austin Rugby fans. Welcome back. We appreciate it. We missed you. Alex says we unfortunately could not connect again last week before the youth. Hey, man, work happens, right? Like,
it happens.
If we got paid to do this for a living, that'd be a different story. But we don't. It's one of those things. Our regular listeners, our guest today is a regular listener, and he asked, "Hey, where were you guys last week?" And I said, "Hey, we have jobs. I run a company, so I got to do that." But we covered some stuff on Texas Rugby Monthly, so go have a listen and watch that if you want to catch up on all things that are going on in Texas. But Alex, this is Austin Rugby Podcast, focused only on everything in Austin Rugby. It's been a pretty exciting 2 weeks. We didn't have the best of games against Utah. Was kind of sad in that performance, but we did have this past weekend Texas Cup. And where is the Texas Cup staying? Right here.
Right here.
Stays here.
Austin, Texas.
It stays in the capital. You might as well. We'll just put a case and just keep it here, right? Because dominating.
Yeah, I mean,
3 Texas Cup matches, 3 wins.
We might have to just make the Texas Cup between us and Dallas next year.
If Dallas has a team. Yeah. Hey, they do have a mascot, so we'll give them that. Who looks like a combination of Scooby-Doo and Wile E. Coyote. But that's not what we won't talk about them too much. But it is, listen, a lot of stuff going on in Austin Rugby right now. In the past week or so, we saw the first matches from the Austin Outlaws, which is the U18 team. Unfortunately, they not victorious in either one of the matches, but it's a big step, right? Like there's you talk about a team like that got announced. There's people from Rock Rugby, there's people from Westlake, from all literally all, even somebody from Houston, a kid from Houston coming over to play in the U18. And that's kind of the pathway, right? That's what we want to start seeing more from all of the other teams around. You got 404 Academy and things like that, but to have a U18 side, that's pretty. I mean, I don't know what was available for you, as a U18, but now to have that, beyond high school, you can go play U18 with somebody. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like growing up, the only opportunity to like really play with other kids in the state or even around the city was like the Texas high performance teams. Oh, yeah. And that was just like a short time summer deal. And I remember growing up, the first 2 years I played rugby, I was in, overseas with family during the high performance season. And then the third year, I might have gotten a little bit of trouble and wasn't allowed to play.
Alex, shame on you.
Per my parents.
Oh, per your parents? Oh, even worse, shame on you.
Yeah. But that's how my brother got recognized by life, and since then it's really helped his rugby career take off. So I think just having this opportunity for high school kids now, is to me a really nice platform, not only to play with other players and get high level coaching outside of just your high school, but also a good segue into getting to a Cal or a Lindenwood or a Life or any of these other college programs popping up, like a Queens or whatever. And I think it's a good way for kids to, take rugby and like try to, maybe see how far they can run with it.
Well, I think it provides a pathway now to continue, right? Because the pathway previously was, at least we'll go back 20 years when I played. So you're done with. I played a little bit in high school. I was lucky enough I played with the college team in Ohio where I went to high school in the summer of my like senior year, like, okay, I'm gonna go play here, and played with them. But then you play high school, you go play college at just wherever you went. Like,
Right.
it wasn't at, Cal was big back then, but it was mostly West Coast. Like
Yeah.
life has always been there. So it's like life was East Coast, Cal was West Coast. As far as in the late '90s, early 2000s, as far as some of those big organizations. But beyond that, then you just played with the men's club wherever you wound up. Right
Yeah.
now, you have the ability with these, with all the advancements and like the high performance academies and things like that. And I think just the exposure to MLR in general, to join one of these academies, like you could, as a kid, out of college, you could finish doing college, come down here to Austin, play with Huns, play with Blacks, play with whoever, get a chance to get up into the AG's, I guess developmental squad, or like over in Houston, they've got Rugby HTX, and I'm pretty sure we're creating the same thing here in Austin. But even as a younger kid, like if you're living here in Austin, you have the ability to come and play with the AGs and get training even at a much younger age. Like I think there's a 16-year-old on the team, if I'm not mistaken. So you're learning from Mark Gerard and Sam Harris and some of the AGs who are helping out with those teams, from professional athletes. Like that is just that's priceless, right? Like you can't put value on that yet, and it only helps us grow the national team, grow MLR, and then grow the national team even more, over the next decade or two.
I mean, and what's another like consequence, or not a consequence, but like byproduct of like you're a high school kid and you're gonna go represent the Austin Gilgoniac's U18 team. Like that's a professional team.
Yeah.
Like let's call it for what it is. Like kids at school, like fellow kids you go to high school with, they're like, that's pretty cool. Like I want to be on TV playing for a professional team, U18 or not.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a nice way to maybe further bring along new players into the sport, because at the end of the day, I think that's the ultimate goal of rugby, or not goal, but like that's how rugby in America is going to become really a competitor, is young players picking up sport, not waiting till they're 18, 19, which you can transition, but it's just like let's have kids playing when they're 13.
Yeah. Well, you think about like here in Austin, just with the number of teams, and I'm sure it'll continue to grow as exposure grows. Different high schools are going to start like, oh, we can build a team, and oh, we'll do this. There are tons of football players here in Texas. We know that. Huge. There's so many. Not all those football players are going to sign D1 or even D2 football contracts. They may say, again, as an athlete, you may go, what? I don't think I'm ever going to make it in professional football. Like you just don't. He said, but what if I change sports? What if I continue to work hard and want to go play a different sport? And we see it, like Dom McKenna and, and other guys that are playing for Austin and around the country. It's happening. You talk about the, EXO Academy over in Colorado and what they're trying to do there. The attempt is being made by those athletes to say, okay, I want to transition and give rugby a try, because I now have a chance to work hard for a couple years, learn a new sport, and make it in professional rugby instead. But when you have high schools that are now being able to do that much earlier, kids, can say, their sophomore year of high school, go like, what, football's not for me. I love rugby. And they could be a 5-star athlete. Let's say like I want to go play rugby at a top university and get scholarship to go play at Arkansas State, at Lindenwood, at Life, at Cal, whatever, whoever else. I'm sure there's more out there. Trust me, we know. It's just those are the easiest ones. But Kutztown, they've got a solid team up there too. I had to throw an East Coast team in there just to make sure we didn't get that. But I think that's something I think a lot of these Austin high school players, they're gonna go play. Perfect example, and we'll move on to the next thing after this. But we talked with Mikey Brown on Texas Rugby Monthly, last week, and he coached Jesuit up in Dallas, and they went undefeated this year. Congratulations to them. He's got 3 or 4 players from that team who signed scholarships to go play rugby. One's going to Arkansas State, one's going to Purdue, trying to walk on for football, but is already working Purdue rugby. Again, like, these players have experience with rugby at an earlier stage. They're going to go to universities, and at those universities, they're going to help build the university program. So then you have college rugby being built up even higher and higher. So the quality and level play is increasing that much higher. Like Lerome White went to Louisville, unfortunately. Sorry, UK grad, UK grad. So I give Lerome some hard time. Coach Walton, Emil over there, who I know and played against many years ago, they're building a fantastic program at Louisville, and he's got guys going to the 404 Academy. And so it's like that's what happens now. Like they played in high school, they're building up, they're getting more recognition, better coaches are happening in college. Same thing around here in Austin, like who's coaching, the UT and Baylor and things like that. Those guys are going to get better exposure and move into those academy-like structures in MLR, so that then they're going to go and play, hopefully, for an MLR team and eventually the USA Eagles.
Boy,
that's an optimistic look at things, isn't it, friends?
Yeah, right. But here's I'll make one. I want to make one last point.
Go for it, man.
With rugby and like being a sport that's like a more of a mainstream sport, I guess. Like, how can we get think about how many kids play. Growing up there, I played basketball, football, baseball, and soccer.
Yep.
Like, once we can get it to where it's like kids are like, oh, I play basketball, baseball, and rugby, or I play football, soccer, and rugby. And I think what really hinders that ability is that not every school has rugby, and rugby is played through schools. But with like academy teams like the AGs, then those kids that go to Manor, the kids that go to Austin High, LBJ, Pflugerville, like other schools that don't have rugby teams, that's a rugby team that they can play on.
Right. So
from a younger age, they can be like, in the fall I play football, in the winter I play basketball, and then in the spring I don't play for Connolly High School. I play rugby for the AG's U16. That's, I think, a cool opportunity that's now being opened up that wasn't before.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's it's one of those things where you look at it and go, oh my gosh, like these kids now have the opportunity to say, I'm going to choose to play rugby in this season, and who knows? Like, I think it's an opportunity for the developmental sides, like our U18, like the Outlaws, and Coach Gerard and Mason Herring, who are heading things up over there, that they can say, oh, that guy's a football player over there. He's never played rugby, but man, that guy's an athlete. Let's train this guy. And in 6 years, he's 22, 24 years old. He comes in to Austin, he stays here in Austin and continues to play with us for 6 years. And you're turning guys in now that's 6 years of training underneath these top level coaches. Man, it's nothing but good stuff for Austin.
Right.
So hooray to the Austin Outlaws. By the way, their kits, their singlet that they have with the guy in the hat. Oh my gosh, man, like, let's get some of those. Like, when do those go on sale in the shops? It's a good thing. Hey, you know what else is a good thing? USA Eagles. We got a couple players from the AGs. We talked about it last time. There was the extended match squad. Unfortunately, Zinni wasn't on there because of injury, and some others weren't on there. But we did have the original match. Was it 72 was the original number, like the larger group that they were pulling from?
It started at 44.
Or 44. Why do I think 72? I don't know. So started at 44, and we had Ruben DeHaas, who was a new signing, who Alex and I made some comments about, and some people didn't appreciate, but it's okay. Oops, whatever.
We're here to have opinions.
We're here to be truthful. Like, this is what we see. We can't be the only ones that see it, that's for sure. But Ruben DeHaas, who was selected to the 44. You had Connor Mooneyham, Bryce Campbell. You had Will McGee. Well, that list actually got narrowed down to the actual 30 players. I did get that number right. 30 players will be traveling to play England and Ireland. It's a pretty big back-to-back. I can't remember a time outside of World Cup that the USA Eagles have ever played two Tier 1 nations in back-to-back games. If ever.
I think we played Scotland. I don't know if it was back-to-back. I think it was Scotland.
I think it is Romania. The first back-to-back. Romania is not Tier 1.
No, we went to Scotland and then Romania and then Ireland.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think it is the first back-to-back one. The squad got announced. Unfortunately, Will McGee, because I think the injury he picked up in Utah, was not selected. But Will's had an outstanding season at fullback for us. Man, he's just been fantastic. We'll talk about Zinni here in a minute about how he played against Houston. But, obviously, Ruben DeHaas, getting selected was kind of obvious. The Bryce Campbell, 2 returning Eagles, and getting his first opportunity now, Connor Mooneyham. Fantastic for him. We're really excited to see him. Texas guy, but he's been fantastic for us. Unfortunately, his injury when he got concussion, he was out for a couple weeks, but came back last week. Looked good at certain times. Just trying to get his feel back into that match fitness. You go out for 2 or 3 weeks, with an injury, you're going to come back, a little slower. But I think he played really well for coming back from concussion. But the big one that we didn't announce doesn't play for us, but he's an Austin guy. He's a family guy. Alex, who made it?
Ryan Reese, in line for a potential first cap, representing the great city of Austin, Texas.
That's right. That's super exciting, man. How did you guys find out in the family? Did you find out with the press release like everybody else, or?
No, he had texted us. He texted us like a couple of days before and was like, "Hey, just got the email from Gary Gold that I'm going to be going on the trip to England with the roster of 30. All caps, do not share this with anybody."
I will get in so much trouble.
And then and then it got announced a couple of days later. But yeah, it's super cool. And I don't know if anyone read, Alex Goff's write up about the team that got selected. And Alex does a really good job. I worked with him for a while, but he totally made an error and said that Ryan Reese was a Lake Travis product.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
I'll be damned.
I saw that.
Damn, did you ever be caught calling a Westlake player a Lake Travis Cavalier?
Did he ever fix it? Did he fix his error? Did he admit? Has he not? He got lamb blasted in the socials. I saw that. I forget who said it. Somebody said it. He did not. Oh, I think it's your dad actually that said it. It's what is he doing saying he's playing Lake Travis? He went to
No, state champion school.
Yeah. Oh man, look at that. Throwing it out there, son. Oh, that's exciting. Really happy for Ryan. I hope he gets man, wouldn't that be great to get a cap against England or Ireland? Your first cap could be against one of those 2 teams.
Right, on July 4th.
July 4th against England. Oh man. That's he's got tough competition. He's got Ruben DeHaas, he's got Michael Baska, both playing, Michael Baska's playing pretty well right now. Of course, he's got a team around him who's playing lights out. God, those guys score from everywhere. It's kind of disgusting. Kind of want our attacking to be like that.
Is anybody playing better rugby right now than Mikey Teo?
No. Cottrell's playing pretty good rugby.
Yeah. Carell.
Who else?
Carelsa at Atlanta.
Who'd you say?
Carelsa.
Yeah. Carell. Well, I was gonna say Mark. Inside center for Atlanta. Jeez Louise.
Oh, Mark O'Keefe.
His body slam to stop Nola from scoring a try. Jeez Louise, come on. Go back and watch that.
If Aaron Castro's listening,
he's not.
He coined a lovely phrase. Full of beef, Mark O'Keefe.
Oh, I like that. I'll give him a shout out. Full of beef, Mark O'Keefe. There we go. Yeah. So good things. Yeah, all good things all around for the AGs getting on USA. It's going to be interesting to see what happens and how the spots we fill. Right when Connor, Bryce, and Ruben leave to go play, because that's playoff push time. We got big games and we got to make it through. Another big game this past weekend, Alex. Texas Cup. We talked about it in the opening. Man, that was a bruiser of a game. There were some hits. Holy crap. I felt bad because we interviewed Mikey Brown on Texas Rugby Monthly, and I thought Frank Halai killed him in the tackle in the second half. Did you see Frank Halai absolutely clobber him in that tackle?
Yes. And then I saw about 10 different hospital shots that the AGs put on the Sabercats throughout the game.
If you're following through in the stat column, everybody, you might have seen 15 dominant tackles in the game. 15.
Yeah.
That is a huge number. We made 124 tackles in the match, and that's we were playing defense a lot, but we were just stopping them left and right. Final score, obviously, final score of the match. I'll throw that out there real quick. 28-9. Alex, we got a bonus point 4-try win. Finally, we've been needing that. We need those bonus points to keep in pace with with Utah, who put a hurting on us the week before. So, man, that was rough. Just rough. But yeah, what were your thoughts on the match?
I thought that, like I mentioned, our tackling and dominant defending was really what made the difference. It looked like the ball was maybe a little greasy out there. That Houston humidity probably kicked in because there was.
You mean Texas humidity, man? Because it's been like 80% humidity everywhere. So.
Yeah, gosh, we could have ran in a few more tries.
We should, and especially in the first 20. Like, we were knocking on the door so many times. Like, I know. Our guest coming up, Cam Dotson, he got his first ever try, but he should have had a second one. He was like right on the try line and just fumbled the ball. It did. It felt like it was a wet ball. Like, it was sloppy. Yeah. It felt sloppy without actually being a sloppy game. Like, it was intense. Like, that first 20 minutes, while it may not have been no scoring and just kind of rough, the back and forth. Could we talk about like just the attack and defense and attack and defense and attack and defense? Like, it just felt like that was going to be the entire game. Yeah. Watching Lerome White breaks away for 40 meters and becomes an instant meme sensation.
Lerome White Lightning.
Lerome White Lightning. Oh man, that's a good one. Who said that one? Was that Castro too? Oh, you? Okay. So I thought Castro said that one too. But yeah, so obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on for us. The match overall, we played well. Overall, we only had the ball 47% of the time, but when we did, we played in 56% of territory. Our gain line, we were 46%, 48% over on our gain line. We didn't really lose gain line that much. So our carry efficiency was fairly good. Line breaks, again, we didn't have a whole lot of line breaks, but we talk about guys who did well when they did break the line, and one of those was McLean Jones. I thought McLean had just a fabulous game. Like, he was just all over the place. Robbie Coetzee for me, and Cam Dodson also. Those were my top three for the game. I thought Cam Dodson, he 7 line-out takes, a steal. He had 30 meters carried. And again, I think 15 tackles and 3 of them were dominant. And Robbie Coetzee, like, he was perfect on his lineouts, and he was a last-minute substitution because Hugh Roach got injured prior to the match. Yeah. So he was supposed to start, so Robbie came in.
It was like, God, so right now is so close, I think, to like really turning the corner and becoming a cornerstone player is Dom
Frank Halai.
Frank Halai is already.
Frank Halai ran through people the other day too. So
but that's like Frank Halai is an All Black and a Super Rugby star for a reason, But like, it's like Dom Aquina is so. I think he's so close to having that full breakout performance, but to me, it's like he just. I don't know, like what happens, but it seems like sometimes he breaks into the open field and then panics
and loses the ball.
Like, there's that one run that he had that Sam Windsor made a
oh my gosh. Sam turned on his elderly jets there for a minute and was able to he had to turn on his jets, like everything he got, because Dom Aquina is fast. But he did. He made that open field tackle, and it was that was try saving because Aquina broke away.
And there's just the panic on the ground and like feeling like you have to do something because you made a break and then lost it. And then because like defensively, Dom's been really good, and I think like when he's he's in some space, he's just so hard to tackle.
Yeah, I think
the
hard part. Yeah, I think the hard part for me with Dom this season it's been injuries for him. Like he's been out. He has I don't think he's played a full match because I think he got hurt and against Utah. But again, we said it since the beginning. He has the potential to be amazing, and I think with his injuries at the beginning of the season and throughout the season, just kind of nagging injuries that hurt him. Like you can't play to full capacity. And then you have people like Dominic Bailey and McLean Jones and Michael Duvall who are all playing outstanding in his replacements. Like you don't want to trade someone out for 40 minutes when you could get a wonderful performance from one of those three. Obviously, Bailey was out injured again this week as well, and Michael Duvall. But I can tell you this, Dom had a good match. McLean Jones did exceptionally well, as he always did. I think McLean Jones has just had, he's been a dominating force all season for us. Like, from tackle count to minutes played, etc. Kyle Breitenbach, played this week. I'm pretty sure he played the full 80 and just had a great match as well against his old
64.
Was it 64? Oh, that's right, because he got subbed out.
But his work at the breakdown is actually not necessarily something that we have a lot of.
No.
And Kyle is kind of a quiet menace around the breakdown with long arms.
Oh, for sure.
He won a couple of turnovers that really kind of helped us out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think obviously I think Regan O'Gorman actually came on for him. We were playing we have all of our locks back in. This week we had 4 locks on the pitch at one time technically, and we had Sebastian DeChavez, we had Christian Osberg, you had Cam Dodson who moved to 8, and Regan O'Gorman who was playing flanker. So it's like the whole season we've been and Kyle was in there too. So we technically had I think Kyle, he does play lock, but I think he's a loose forward. But yeah, so you have 5 guys who can play lock on the field almost on the field at one time. But great match. Obviously, we scored. Cam Dodson gets his first try. We kicked it off. Kurt Morath in the first half got his points. On a great offload. Actually, one of the tries of the week, just from the breakaway that Bryce Campbell had. Then tossed it off to I believe it was Pele Cali, and then it was Pele. Now I'm forgetting. Watching too much rugby and older matches this week. And then finally, talk about hardworking, knowing that you need the bonus point, knowing that you need to get that to stay in contention with Utah. Wapa just absolutely muscles over about 5 guys to get over the try line for that last one in literally at the dying minutes and at the death. So it's great. Kurt Morath was perfect on the day from his conversion. So we had 2 7-point tries and McLean Jones and Kurt Morath. And then Cam Dodson, got his try. Whopper got his try. We were 100% on our scrums and lineouts. 100%. That is massive.
Without Isaac Ross too.
What's that?
Without Isaac Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had, 9 total. We had 9 scrums and we took 13 lineouts and won every one of them. Hey man, you play like that, you have a solid defense, you put that nice burnt orange wall up, that continues to continues to punish people, right? You take meters gained, they had a lot of meters gained, 590, not actually a whole lot. Like we pretty much shut them down every time we needed to shut them down. We made them turn the ball over a few times. We still have that one problem though. 17 turnovers, man.
Right.
Killing us. And I think that was mostly in the first half. So, but hey, we win. We move on to the next week. It brings us up to standings. LA still sitting top. God, man, and no one. The road to the MLR Shield is going to go through the Coliseum. Like, we're going to win. Like, we'll go there. We'll win. Come back home. Have a championship game here at Bolt Stadium. But right now we're sitting 5 points back from Utah. We're both 6-5. Utah seems to score 5. Every time they play, they at least get a bonus point. I think they have the most bonus points acquired on this season out of anybody. But I think we got some big games coming up, right? We go to LA. We have one home game left. unfortunately, this weekend, which we'll talk about here a little bit later. But really, we got some big matches against San Diego and stuff that we need to win. And San Diego's only 2 points back now. They're playing well, and they just signed like 3 or 4 big players that, super rugby players. So who knows? And maybe we should sign some former Super Rugby players to come play for us. Fill in.
Yeah.
We need an inside center to fill in for Bryce our outside center when he fill in for Bryce when he goes to play. We need another winger. I'm sure we could find some guys that aren't playing right now.
Yeah, I mean,
need some loose forwards.
Most of them will end their season this week.
Yeah, there you go. So, hey, Alex, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna go meet Cam Dodson.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Come right back right after this. Oh, Austin Rugby fans, it has been, man, how long has it been since, I'm trying to think here. It's been a couple weeks since we've actually had one of the players on, which is unfortunate, but kind of goes with what Alex and I said about not being able to make it, to record and having jobs that pay us money and podcasts that don't. But we are really excited to have some of the guys always coming on to the podcast. Really excited to have our guest on for this week. Our guest this week, you can try to guess who it is as we go along. It's fresh out of college, so that narrows it down. Hails from Staffordshire, England, so that even narrows it down even further. And if you haven't guessed, he was also this week's MLR 15 of the week, Mr. Cam Dodson. Can, welcome to the podcast, man. How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Big week for you. You had what I would consider a pretty outstanding performance. Let's run it through here. You had 15 tackles, 3 dominant tackles. What do you have? 25 ruck arrivals, 30 meters gained on 3 runs. That's a solid 3 runs right there. You took 7 lineouts, had a lineout steal. Oh, and you scored your first ever MLR try.
I did indeed, yeah.
So was there a Zulu after? Sorry, that doesn't happen in MLR, does it? It's a pretty outstanding performance this past week against Houston, but really feel like you have a pretty phenomenal year so far. Obviously, we've had some injuries, and we'll get to that. But for those who don't know who you are, you do hail from the UK, from Staffordshire. But you also played at Grand Valley, Grand Canyon. Excuse me, it's Grand Valley. So I know a Grand Valley State too, so that's another one. So, but yeah, from GCU over there in Arizona. So I guess walk us through how you got from England to the Gilgoniacs.
Yeah, it's quite a journey.
Pretty easy, right? Like it's just like 2 or 3 steps.
Yeah. No, so I was playing some club rugby back home, and I wanted to get my degree, and there was a coach back home actually suggested when I go to the States they were offering scholarships and stuff for rugby out here, and it was very new to me. So I got on the internet, said I was looking to do this. I had a few offers from some of the units like Lindenwood and Arkansas and places like that. And as much as I wanted to come to the rugby, it was like, didn't really know where they were.
Yeah.
Missouri and Arkansas didn't really appeal too much to me. So it wasn't until about a couple of months later I got an offer from GCU, and I had a call with the head coach at the time, his name's Cam Wiper, who's an Aussie guy. And he was like, yeah, GCU's a great place. I looked up Arizona and I'd like somewhere I'd have a good time. And 3 years later, I graduated and then was in the draft.
I mean, obviously, that's something you get. It is a story in a nutshell. It's pretty quick nutshell too on that one. But obviously, talking with what kind of made you choose GCU over the Lindenwoods or the I don't know if Life was ever on the radar, but like you said, Arkansas State. What was it about GCU that really drew your attention to that program there?
It was probably the state in itself and the school. Had the degree I was after. After speaking with the coach, I already got on well with the coach, and he walked me around some of the facilities, and it just seemed like a pretty good fit. And that was it, really.
Ah.
Now rugby was kind of second to my degree. It was a pretty new program. I think it's only their 6th year now.
Yeah, I say it wasn't around very long when you were there, right?
Yeah, they'd only just gone up to D1 when I first got there, so they were very new. But
well, what's that?
I loved it. Yeah, I loved my time there. It was great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then obviously, like you said, MLR. There was the draft that happened. I know that there was. I don't know if you're free to speak on it, but do you know kind of what the situation? For those that don't know, like people thought that you were going to go number 1 in the draft, and come draft time, obviously. Your now teammate Connor Mooneyham became the number 1 overall pick. Are you free to speak on kind of what the situation was with the whole draft? I guess not being drafted, and then the questions that surrounded it.
Yeah, of course. So initially, I didn't really want to enter the draft.
Yeah,
to be honest, I kind of had my heart set on a couple of teams, Austin being one of them. But then I found out I had to enter. That was the only way to move on from college. So I entered into the draft, and then about 3 or 4 days before the draft actually happened, I got an email, and several of my teammates from GCU got the same email saying, the paperwork isn't right. You need to send in a couple of the documents. One being proof of like you're on a roster between that last season we played, which I had. So it was a bit of a scramble, and we got all that paperwork. I said he only had 24 hours to reply to this email.
Of course. Nothing like cutting it close, right?
About 3 months to sort this out. But so then I got the paperwork through, and I didn't hear anything back. And then the morning of the draft, which we didn't know it was taking place 12 hours before the actual live showing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got a message on Instagram from a rugby agent, and he said, how come you're not eligible for the draft anymore? And I was like, what?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah. So then I got on the phone to my coach, Sean O'Leary, and he made some calls, and he was like, yeah, as far as I know, you're still in it. And basically, I've heard you going pretty high, so enjoy the day kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I had friends and family back home, and old teammates like watched the draft from back home. And
man.
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing.
Round 1, pick 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think it was towards the second round of the draft. I was like, yeah, this something's gone on here. I'm not going. So I was pretty mad. I'm not gonna lie. It was quite a tough time.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it's like you get your ambitions and your hopes up, like, and you plan. Again, confirmation does or does not happen from Major League Rugby to you, and obviously there's not a whole lot of American rugby. Collegiate rugby players don't necessarily have agents like they like professional football. Like
No,
those
exactly,
there's some guy. It's like your uncle. Like, or your dad helping out or something like that. But yeah, it's like you get your hopes and your anticipation, right? And you get everybody excited, and then they don't even tell you that anything happens. Interesting.
Yeah, so I got kind of drawn into all that, the podcast before, and all those draft predictions. I was thinking, well, might go on pretty successful here. And then to not be drafted, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
But then I got a call from Sam that night, and we spoke on the phone, and he actually listened to me probably rant for about 10 minutes. First person I spoke to afterwards. But no, he was pretty pleased that I was
not drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, might as well.
Yeah, he was pleased you weren't drafted because then he could say, "Hey, I want you to come play with us."
Yeah. So no, I had a good chat with Sam, and I told him about how Austin was pretty high on my list anyway.
Yeah.
And we chatted why, and um, he was pretty keen on going to the next step with me and discussing maybe me traveling over and having a look. And next thing you know, I was pretty much signed within a couple of weeks, and all worked out for the best in the end.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were ecstatic. I know there are people around, who are talking about like some of the, the signings and stuff that we had, and obviously we signed Mason, and then we also out of the draft we signed Mason and we signed Luis Atama, who unfortunately is not with us anymore. But the really interesting part about it is, you and Mason, and through the Dallas Jackals leaving, we get Connor. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal for it. Like, I mean, you think about like other professional sports, it takes about a year or so, a couple years for the rookies to really make their presence known, where you guys have instantly made your presence known. Do you feel as though that that it's just what your experience and your ability to adapt quickly to, I guess, professional playing style, or do you think it's just kind of the structure of the team that Coach Sam and Mark have built, that have helped you succeed this year so far?
Yeah, I said on my interview after the game on Saturday, I don't think I could have wished for a better team or a better environment to come into for my first year.
Yeah,
they were very welcoming, understanding, and it did take me a while to adjust to the demands of pro rugby.
Yeah,
and
a little bit different than college.
Yeah, a little bit. But no, and that's a lot down to Whopper as well, and Coach Rossi. They've been a great help to me and sort of got me on the level playing field with all the others, and how I prepare for trainings and game, and how much film you have to watch and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's down to them really that I said, look, this is a must, and this is at this level you need to do this, and that's it really.
Yeah. Well, so thinking back, growing up in England and watching and being a rugby player, rugby fan, can you now look back and go, well, looking back at yourself and say, oh, I'm going to be playing professional rugby somewhere, in the United States, as a 17-year-old or 15-year-old, 16-year-old, however old you'll be.
So, yeah, it's strange how things have led me to where I am now, playing professional rugby in Texas of all places. You'd probably said that 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. We're like I said, we're excited. We love having you here. It's been an up and it's been an up and down season for the team, but it's also for yourself. You started off and we're getting some game time in, but you hadn't. We talked earlier about it. You had an injury. Walk me through just a little bit about what that was like, what recovery was like, and obviously now that you're coming back full strength and playing, week in, week out, 80 minutes this past weekend. Congratulations, by the way. 80 minutes is, especially against a hard-hitting physical team, and by physical I mean that match against Houston was physical. What's that?
So it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. We saw the hits. There were some big hits out there. But what was that? I guess we're trying to figure out, like, from your standpoint, coming off an injury and coming back into the team. What's that been like for you recently?
Yeah, I mean, starting that first game against Utah, I mean, I think I got started a lot sooner than I thought it would have been.
Straight into the fire, man.
Straight into the deep end, yeah, which, it was good, but then obviously 20 minutes in, breaking my hand, wrist, whatever, it was kind of gutting, missing those next 3 games where we were very low on blocks at the time as well. And Rossi hadn't quite got here yet, and a couple of other hand injuries. And
Injuries.
About
that's been the thing.
5 broken hands and stuff. And
yeah. Oh, Zinni. Zinni. Yeah.
Zinni.
Well, Jeff has been out since the beginning of the season.
Tristan Osper broke his hand as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What's up with all the hands? What is it?
I don't know.
Just getting stepped on? Are people playing dirty? Is that what it is?
I don't know what it was.
It's a going trend. So.
Yeah, but then it was just getting in the gym, rehabbing it every day, and being there when the team needed you and stuff like that. And then was it Atlanta? I was saying, Atlanta. I was back in second half, and I was still pretty heavily strapped.
Yeah. I mean, you're healed, but I mean, you can see it. Like, you still have a complete wrap around your hand for each match. Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's slowly getting there. It's pretty much there now. It's just a little sore when you go past certain movements. But yeah, we're pretty much 100% now, which is I'll be happy
awesome
to get that off.
You were talking a little bit ago about learning, being thrown into the fire first MLR match, starting and whatnot, but also you've had the ability to learn from I'll call it 3 really seasoned players. You have Wapa, obviously forwards coach, but you've got 2 guys in the lock position, which you packed down at lock. You also packed down at 8 this week as well. So I mean, you played 8 in college. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it because nobody else was also 6'7" and 240 whatever pounds you are, and so you had to play 8 so you could just push everybody forward?
No, we were kind of blessed in college to have a couple of good locks, and our back row was pretty slim. So,
and you're like, oh yeah, I'll play 8, no problem. Get a little pick and go, right? Yeah. Let a 9 come off and try to tackle you in college. So, but yeah, so obviously, like I said, you play a couple different positions, but lock has been where you've featured most at this season. But you've got people like Seb and Ross, who are. I mean, Seb has been playing in the English Premiership forever. It seems like, and obviously you've got a former All Black as your coach. What's it been like to kind of learn from those guys in your short MLR career so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's been unbelievable. When I first got here, Sebi was very willing to help and teach, which was amazing. And then Rossi coming in just probably takes the pressure off Seb a little bit, and he's taken over that coaching role, especially in the lineouts, and like I said, Whopper as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been unreal.
It's fantastic.
For better coaches, and I think Ross and Whopper have a real good system going.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Any ambition to make your way back home and try to play for? I mean, it's okay. We know that the goal is to better yourself as a player, and if we talked with some guys who I think of Mason Peterson was like, I'd be open to going to play in England. That's play in the Premiership, right? Play Super Rugby, whatever players can go play. Any ambition to eventually make your way back home and maybe possibly Rugby Championship or the Premiership?
For me, it's always been a dream playing the Premiership.
Yep,
that was always a dream of mine. But right now, I'm really playing in Texas, and I still don't feel like I've seen enough of America to leave yet. So pretty happy where I am, traveling around the States, and
that's good. We'll make sure we keep you here then, so we don't have to worry about that. So obviously, you've been in Texas. You were here July? Is that when you were? I mean, you got announced as the first signee, basically the first new signee in like July 2nd, I think is when it was, or basically 1st of July, somewhere around there is when Austin announced you. And then it wasn't too long after that you moved here, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was about September time.
Oh, was it September?
Yeah.
But still, that's much earlier than a lot of the other players who didn't arrive until What was your thought in coming here? Just you were ready to just get to Austin and have fun?
Oh yeah, I was my lease in Arizona was ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Don't want to pay those extra months for the lease.
yeah. But no, I was considering going home, and then this is when all the COVID started
Yeah.
Outbreak, and it was a bit risky going home to then come back.
Yeah.
So the guys at the AGs were just like, we'll get you in early and see if the other lads want to come as well. And Louis and Mason were like, yeah, we'd love to get down there early. So it worked out pretty well. So us three kind of moved in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was the end of September, that was start of October, we moved in and started training together and preparing for preseason.
That's awesome. Favorite thing about Texas so far? Non-rugby related.
I want to say like live music, but I haven't really.
There is no live music right now.
Yeah, I haven't really been able to go out much. I mean, COVID's starting to slip a little bit now, like cool off a little bit now, and that's something I'm probably looking forward to most, rather than like the most. It's very welcoming as well.
Yeah,
Texas.
Southern hospitality, man.
Yeah, the Austin people. Everywhere you go, they're very interested in what you do, and then you say you play rugby, they're very interested in that.
Like, what? Yeah, you get the eyebrow and keep like head tilt. So, all right. So, what's the least favorite thing about Texas so far?
I'm going to say the weather. You never know what's going to be. Yeah,
I had a feeling you're going to say that.
Snowstorm a couple of months after I first moved here.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I thought Texas was supposed to be hot, and we had that snowstorm.
Did you step outside today?
Yeah, it's hot today.
It's muggy though. That's the problem. It's just the humidity is through the roof. So
yeah, so like you wake up and you look outside, you never know what it's going to be like. So
yeah, well, obviously, we've got big game coming up this weekend against Toronto. It's unfortunately, which is terrible, the last home game of the season. What are you looking forward to? Assuming that you're going to be selected in the match day 23, but what are you looking forward to? That last match, Bold Stadium this year.
I mean, I think throughout the year we've been having more and more fans to the game, and I'm hoping that last home game of the season we get a full house. It'd be nice to play in front of
full COVID house.
Yeah, full COVID house. As much as
still not full capacity. So
is that right?
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear there's still going to be maybe loosen the restrictions a little bit, but not open to all 5,000 at Bold Stadium, which would be fantastic. I'm still waiting for that.
I think it was the New York game that we had.
It was a big turnout.
It was a big turnout, and it was unreal to play in front of, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm concerned.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, hey, really appreciate it. Appreciate the time. Any last thoughts or anything that you want to say hey to anybody who's listening to the podcast? By the way, Cam said that he is an avid listener of the podcast and has been disappointed that Alex and I have not been on a regular basis. So we're trying. We got to make Cam happy. So anybody you want to say hey to back home, or any former teammates that you want to say hey to, or girlfriends, or I don't know, whatever.
Not really. No, just
there you go. Sorry, mom and dad. Sorry, grandma, grandpa.
I would just say to people, if you're thinking of coming out of the game, we've got Pride Week on this week. It's pretty important for rugby, and we take this pretty seriously.
Yeah, it's all about inclusion in rugby, man.
Yeah, rugby inclusion. I've seen a couple of good things on Instagram and stuff from teams in the MLR, and be a good weekend and a good turnout, and
yeah, we're looking forward to it. If you are going out to the game, you can go online. There's a bus for free that's taking you down there, and
I heard that. Yeah.
After the party, there's the after party, and it's not in the hotel lobby. But there is I just forgot the name of the. I forgot the name of the place that it's located. The AGs are going to be mad, but I forget where we're actually going for the after party as I'm looking it up on my iPad right now. But I knew that there's a free bus going from what is it? The Statesman's parking off of Congress. We'll go out to Bold Stadium, and then also there is the after party that I can't find right now. We'll try to look it up when we come back after this. But
I'm sure you can find it on social media.
It's on social everywhere. There's a party, free drinks. No, there's not free drinks. I wish there was though. But hey, we're always appreciative of guys coming on. Cam, Dotson, really appreciate you coming on and chatting a little bit. Really enjoyed it. Good luck this weekend against Toronto and the rest of the season. And hopefully we get some of those that playoff spot, man. So we can go up there and take on the Teenies and take on to that championship. So, Cam Dotson, everyone, thanks for joining us, Cam.
Thank you, mate. Thanks.
All right, Dustin, that was pretty sweet hearing from the almost number one overall pick.
It just blew me away, right? Like it just.
Hey, you know what? We're glad that he got passed up on.
Right. Glad that he got passed up on. Glad that he wants to stay here too. Like, he said that his always ambition as a kid to play in the Premiership, but also that he wants to stay in Austin. I think he's got a long career ahead of him. He's a big dude. He's got, like he said, he's got two great coaches in Isaac Frost and Sebastian de Chavez from a lineout and from a second row perspective, but also WAPA. Like he's learning from some pretty fantastic players. Good stuff though.
Well, yeah, let's hope to see him scoring another try and pulling in another man of the match performance on Saturday.
Ooh.
Dustin, the Saturday game, it's Pride Night at Bold Stadium. And I'm not sure. Did I hear that there's a little something going on before the game?
Oh, man, absolutely. If you've been a part of the social media and you haven't seen it, man, it's going to be a tailgate party. Because of COVID restrictions being lifted, because of all the other stuff, and because it's the last game of the season, going to be outside. Obviously, that was a ridiculous statement, Dustin. Of course, we're outside. It's just like thinking like COVID, like, oh, you can't go inside, can't go outside. But we're gonna be outside in Lot B, over there in the parking lot. Austin Rugby supporters group tailgate party. There's going to be something special there, Alex. People have been waiting for it for a long time. They've been asking for it. They've been curious. Do you know what it is? Any guesses?
Is it possibly something to do with some of the branding that's been confusing or puzzling to the rest of the league?
Yeah, a big announcement was made last year in Austin that a team called the Gilgonies was coming up, and everybody went, "What the hell is a Gilgoni?" Well, they said, "Well, it's a Texas-sized cocktail." And somebody goes, "Well, what's in it?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a Texas-sized cocktail." Hey, guess what, everybody? This Saturday, Lot B, 4 o'clock in the parking lot outside Bold Stadium, tailgate party, be food, there'll be beverage. That beverage will be, for the first time ever, the Gilgoni. Be here.
Yeah.
Come out, join us, have good times, then go eat some food, go inside, listen to some live music coming up. We got always live music. It's going to be Pride Night. I'm sure there's going to be armadillo racing or something else that always happens. Youth rugby happening beforehand on that one. Come find out how to get your Gilgoniac's gear. Yeah, you want to drink a Gilgoni? Become a Gilgoniac, right? That's easy.
Right.
And then, also we've got the match against Toronto. It's a big match, man. Toronto can, depending on which Toronto team shows up, it's always gonna be interesting. But
the one that showed up is the only MLR team I've ever played against, and I'll say that was not.
That's not a good game. Not a great game.
Not our best outing.
No, it was a pretty terrible one. Not to be rude, but it was not a great game. It was rainy and nasty and pretty terrible. Weather and play. Well, Alex, what do you got, man? You want to throw out a prediction for the match?
Yep. I'm going to go.
Yep, I sure do.
Yep. I'm going to go with an 18-15 AG's win.
Ooh, 18-15.
That's our number.
Yeah. Okay. 18-15 AG's win. Hey, I'm gonna play with the Texas weather, right? It's supposed to be 94. Probably feels like 100 in front porch of hell on Saturday. I know they've been playing in Atlanta and they're used to that, but they're Canadians, most of them, so they're not used to the hot, humid weather. And so I'm going to say the AGs, I think we're going to pull it off. We need to get bonus points. So I'm going to go. I think we're going to have a big game offensively. I think Toronto has some problems on defense, as we saw this past weekend. They tend to give up a ton of points. We don't. So I think that we're actually going to score a bunch. I'm going to go 31. I'm going to go 31-17 is the final score of that match. I think we're going to play well. Last home game, front of packed house, Bold Stadium. I think we're ready. I think we're going to play. I think we're going to click this week. We haven't seen the team sheets, haven't seen what's going to happen. But I think that the guys are playing well. And, I look to have Connor Mooneyham, back full pace. Some of the other guys ready to go, ready to play. So hopefully we'll get that going and get that bonus point win to keep in line with Utah. And we just got to hope that Utah drops a couple points here and there. That's what we need to hope right now. I think that they still have to play LA at home. They still have to play San Diego again, who's playing well. But like I said, we still have to play San Diego too. So
and LA.
And LA. We got to go to play at the Coliseum, which may have to make a trip out there. That'd be nice to go watch. So, but yeah, lots of good things, man. It's going to be a good week. It's sad that it's our last home game of the season. We're definitely front loaded with that.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Scenario is, I don't know if we're going to catch LA on the first place spot, but if we get second place, we go out to LA, we beat LA and win. I believe because the Western Conference has the highest win percentage, or I forget how it works out, but we technically would come down here to the Austin, Texas, to the state capital, and we'd have the MLR championship at Bold Stadium.
Well, and if we can climb into second place, we'll host that. It's first playoff game.
I don't think that actually is right. I think we were wrong on that like weeks ago. I think it's just the top two teams.
Is it really? It's not the top three?
I don't know. Like, I haven't been following it. I think it's just the top two teams. I thought it was the top three, but we may have been drinking that day. And wishful thinking, like you make it the top three. So I don't know. We'll see. So, hey, Alex, you going to be out there on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Are you going? Did you know that after the party or after the game, there's the after party?
No, I didn't.
Not in a hotel lobby. It's at Oil Can Harry's. If you go out there, you show them your match day tickets. I believe you get in for free. But there's a big after party for the match on Saturday, which is pretty exciting. Other big exciting things coming up next weekend in Austin, Bloodfest. Bum, bum, bum. You're right. We almost forgot to mention that, man. That's a big one. The biggest sevens tournament this side of the Mississippi.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it is this side or whatever.
82.
This side of the Red River, maybe. Who cares? We'll call it that. No one's going to call us out on it.
I think 82 teams this year.
82 teams.
Coming off of COVID is pretty awesome because I think the 2019 there was, if you include high school, there was like 120 teams. So
that's awesome.
82 is pretty great. So I'm excited.
It's good. Like I said, come out, get your drink on, have a Gilgroni. Find out how to get Gilgoniac gear. Alex, you know where to get Gilgoniac gear, don't you?
Austin Rugby Supporter, World Rugby Shop / Austin Rugby Supporters.
Or the Rugby Shop.
The Rugby Shop.
You go to the Rugby Shop. You can go to rugbyshop.com and just type in Austin Rugby Supporters in the search bar. You can pull it up there. It's actually it's World Rugby Shop / collection / Austin Rugby Supporters. It's a long one. We'll throw the link up there. If you want to find out what all is going on and everything else Austin Rugby, you can always go to Austin Rugby Supporters on the social handles. Alex, big week, man. Looking forward to seeing you out there. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a live show while we're out there. A little bit of little live pregame action there with the old cell phone. do some live halftime reporting live from the pitch. But hey, as always, appreciate it, man. Good times.
Yeah, thank you.
Good times. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching us. If you're listening, go check us out on YouTube. check out the YouTube page or the our Instagram page. If you're watching us and just want to listen to us while you're driving down the road, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, all the good things. We're going to be there all the time. That's Alex Reese. I'm Dustin Zare. And until next time, we'll see you on the pitch.